Okay. Good morning. I'm here today to announce that the program known as DACA that was effectuated under the Obama administration is being rescinded. The DACA program was implemented in 2012 and essentially provided a legal status for recipients for a renewable 2-year term, worker authorization, and other benefits, including participation in the Social Security program to 800,000 mostly adult illegal aliens.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. And it's got to stop. And it's got to stop fast.
My family is really my mom's family, and they're from a state called Oaxaca in Mexico. It's a very rural state, very poor, and they a lot of them are still there, but a majority of them have moved to Mexico City just because it's very rural. There's really no way to capitalize there. Really just it's farming, and that's really all there is, and so they moved to Mexico City. My mom moved to Mexico City when she was 18 to provide for her parents, and then eventually made the decision to move to the United States later on. I think the reason why my mom actually moved to this country wasn't probably like a financial decision like it is for a lot of people. For my mom, it was because the majority of the family that was already here, she hadn't seen in a really long time. And then it also had to do with the fact that my father had passed away, and so she was kind of feeling like she needed some other support, family support.
Right.
And so she made the decision, as others within my family at the same time, to move to this country. So it was my mom, my aunt, and a couple of cousins that all decided at one time as a group to travel together. When she decided to move to this country, I was 4, and then the day that we actually arrived on American soil, I turned 5. And she likes to tell me that for my 5th birthday, the biggest present she gave me was to bring me to this country. She just laughs about it. Yeah. So. I remember being at school and not knowing any English. I remember having kids try translate stuff for me. I remember just, not understanding a lot of the stuff being said, having a lot of cultural barriers. I remember actually the first time that I didn't need anybody to translate for me. Like, I remember like the teacher telling somebody to tell me in Spanish some instructions she was giving, and I remember telling the kid, like, it's fine, I understood. Like, I think I told them, like, I understand, or something like that. Once you start growing up and you're able to kind of comprehend those things probably around 12, 13, 14, you know that you're undocumented and your family doesn't have legal status, and there's always difficulties, barriers that you have to break. But I didn't understand the magnitude until I actually had policy barriers that I couldn't break. Like my life couldn't move forward because of those issues. And so that's when I really knew. But I think you always kind of know when your family has like undocumented folks living within your family, or if you're yourself undocumented, but it's never as real until you can't actually move forward, or if you have plans and move forward with them because you don't have documents. My mom, for example, her parents, just whenever they got sick, and she couldn't go, you understand why. It's because you can't come back. And so you kind of have already that knowledge, but it's never really like an outspoken thing, like nobody, I felt very affected, especially with being able to not be able to apply for scholarships. That's when I probably started feeling the biggest impact. Not being able to apply for the FAFSA. I didn't understand what the dramatic change was between out-of-state and in-state tuition. And so when I was applying, I did feel kind of some of the exclusion because I couldn't apply for FAFSA, because I couldn't apply for a lot of scholarships. And I just didn't have the resources that others did, or the capacity to apply to out-of-state schools or anything like that because of my legal status. DACA has changed my life dramatically. I mean, that's just like an understatement, probably. With DACA, well, number one, you're able to work a full-time job and use all of the skills that you've learned and be completely, liberated from all of the things that were barricading you or hindering you. And so it's just much easier for you to get a job, number one. And so I was successfully able to pull my family from living in 1 or 2 bedroom apartments, and so now we live in a house and I have a mortgage, number one. Number two, I've been able to go to school, so I now can afford tuition. For the first couple of semesters at a community college, I paid out of pocket, and paying 2 classes at a time wasn't a big deal. And then just trying to get as many good grades as I can so I can apply for scholarships, and then I was able to gain a couple of scholarships to go to school. So I was working full time, and then I was also going to school full time. So it's been just a blessing, just the ability to capitalize with DACA has been tremendous. I bought my first car, bought a house. I've been able to go on trips just a vacation, just because, regular things that I was never able to. I didn't have my own room growing up. Now I have my own room because of DACA, so it's great. Things like that. It's just those little things you take for granted, but you start realizing that, wow, your life just changed dramatically after DACA, and just the ability to gain steady incomes changes your life. DACA is not the DREAM Act. DACA is a program that is signed by the president and could be removed at any time. And a lot of people call it the DREAM Act, but it's not, because it got rescinded. A DREAM Act, a president can't do away with the law. Had we passed the DREAM Act in 2010, we would have had a legalization for these students. We would have had a fix, and there wouldn't be no need for the DACA program. So we knew that. I think the next misconception is that, why are you in the DACA program? Why don't you go stand in line to go get your citizenship? Immigration law doesn't work like that. There is no line to stand in. You just can't. You're in this country already. And in order for you to apply to a visa, you have to apply to this program that's a lottery, which selects only a certain number of people from countries. And if, for example, if you're from Mexico, which I am from, because there's already a ton of Mexican immigrants already within the United States, they're way at the bottom of the list. So they probably, I don't know if they accept any still. I don't think they do. I don't think they even have an option for Mexico at this time, because I think that's how the way that immigration law works and visas are given out. It's like they're given them out to the least, the countries with the least amount of immigrants from those countries, and so it just doesn't work like that. There is no line to stand in.
And so, what happens if nothing is passed to replace DACA? Where do you go from there?